You fucked up, and now you're feeling anxious, guilty, ashamed, thinking that you've missed your opportunity. This is what happens when you make a big mistake. And this is also where a lot of people return to their addiction. Now, it's a lot easier to stay clear minded when life is going your way. But when you make a big mistake or something unexpected happens and you're suddenly faced with a difficult situation and very intense emotions, it becomes a lot harder not to go back to your addiction. Now, as I am recording this video, I actually messed up myself a few days ago. I made a big mistake. It cost me socially. It caused me a lot of shame. And as I was going through this experience, trying to learn something from it, it occurred to me that I didn't even get the idea of starting to drink. And this was interesting for me because this is exactly what I used to do for 10 years. When something this kind of difficult happened to me, I turned to alcohol, I turned to smoking weed to soothe myself, to escape the emotions. But now that thought didn't even occur to me. So I asked myself why. And the answer was rather simple, actually. It's no longer an option. And if something is not an option, then my mind doesn't present me with it. And I digged a little bit more and asked myself, okay, but how did I get into this position of this not even being an option? You know, for 10 years, very natural thing to do. Now, not even an option. Very interesting. And the answer to that question was that I just learned through repeatedly going through difficult situations and difficult emotions without soothing myself with alcohol or weed. Very boring in a sense. Just go through the hard things without escaping them. You actually just face the emotions, learn how to deal with whatever it is, accept it, grow from it, and move on with your life. And I did enough reps of that eventually it became my default way of dealing with difficult emotions. And I no longer needed alcohol or weed to deal with life. Now, it wasn't straight linear progress where I never messed up. It was more kind of like up and down. I tried, I failed. Sometimes I returned to my addiction over the years. But eventually I got to the position where the thought no longer even occurs to me. So the lesson I want to share from all of this is that it's really difficult to get free from your addiction as long as you still need it to cope with life. If you still need it to cope with difficult emotions and difficult situations, then most likely when something big happens in your life and you haven't learned how to deal with it with any other way, most likely you will start negotiating with yourself, thinking that maybe this one time and, it's just once and it's really a big deal right now. It just helps me. Something like that. And before you know it, you're back at it again. Because, once you start doing it, it's very, very easy to get really sucked into it back again. So this is the lesson. I keep repeating it, I keep returning to it because it's really essential. Without learning new skills, it's really difficult to get free from your addiction. And if you want to learn how to develop those kinds of skills in yourself, then I wrote a whole framework about it. It's called the 4 quadrants of self-esteem and behavior, which talks about how to develop yourself to the point where you no longer need substances or addictive behavior in order to deal with life. There are 2 free chapters in the description.